Hi guys, and welcome back to another crochet tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how I made this cardigan, and I'm going to show you how I made the size for 0 to 3 months. This one is the smaller size. The bigger size is for around 18 months. My daughter is now 19 months almost, and it's fitting her perfectly. My son is 2 months now, and also this one is fitting him perfectly, and I think it's gonna fit him for 1 more month. Let's see. So basically the tutorial, the size that I'm going to show you now is for this one, and so also all the materials that you will need, it's based on this size here. The bigger size and also all the other sizes up to kid size I'm gonna share in my written pattern that you can download on my website or on my Ko-fi account. Also all the measurements of the cardigan and for every different size you will find in the written pattern as well as the amount of yarn that you will need for the bigger sizes. So the amount of yarn that you will see in the upcoming slide is gonna be for the smallest size here. So that being said, I wish you a lot of fun crocheting with me. We are going to start off by making a foundation chain of 62 chains. So we're gonna chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and we're gonna continue until we reach 62 chains. So I now made a foundation chain of 62 chains, sorry, and I'm going to check the size, like the length of the foundation chain, and you're gonna want to pull it a little bit, and we have here a length of almost, like we have 32 centimeters, so almost 33 if we pull it a lot, but we don't want to pull it too much, so 32 centimeters. So if you are using a different size of yarn or a different size of hook, you can try to make a foundation chain that is around 33 centimeters if you are making this for a newborn baby until 3 months. So now we made 62 chains, and now we're gonna make 2 more chains. 1. We're gonna first hold here, this is our 62nd chain, let's say, and this is our 61st chain. So we're gonna hold our thumb here, we're gonna chain 2 more, 1, 2, and then we're gonna make a double crochet into this 61st chain. Okay, so like this we have 2 double crochets already, so the first 3 chains count as our first double crochet. And now we are going to make a total of 8 double crochets. So we already made 2, so we're gonna make 6 more double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We have 8 double crochets. So now in the next one we're going to make the corner. So basically we're gonna make an increase, and we're going this by making 1 double crochet into the stitch. Then we're gonna chain 2, 1, 2, and then 1 more double crochet into the same stitch, like this. And now we're going to make 12 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and continue until you have a total of 12 double crochet, and then I'm going to show you how to continue. So after making 12 double crochet, we're going to repeat the same thing as we did here on this corner here. So we're going to make 1 double crochet, chain 2, and 1 more double crochet into the same stitch. And now we are going to do again double crochets, and this time we're gonna make 18 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, and continue making until you reach 18 double crochets, and then I'm going to show you how to continue. I now made 18 double crochets, and then we're going to again repeat the same thing as we did on this corner here. So we're gonna make 1 double crochet, chain 2, and 1 more double crochet into the same stitch. And now we're going to make 12 double crochet. After making 12 double crochet, you're gonna repeat this thing again. So 1 double crochet, chain 2, and 1 more double crochet into the same stitch. And then we should have only 8 double crochet, like 8 chains left. So we're gonna make 8 more double crochets, and then we are finished with the first row. So I now reached the end of the row. The loops here are a little bit stretched because I continued without pressing the play button, so the record button, so I had to cancel it again and show you one more time. So I already cut off the yarn. We're gonna chain 1 and change the color. Before changing the color, let me one more time explain. So we did here 8 double crochet. Here we have 8, here we have 12, 12, and 18, and then we always have our corners. So this is for the size of 0 to 3 months by using this type of yarn, this thickness of yarn, and this type of hook. Now we're gonna change our color, and we're gonna start with the second round. So take the color and chain 3, turn your work, make a knot, and now we're gonna make cluster stitches. So let me show you how to make a cluster stitch. So we're gonna yarn over, insert our hook into the stitch, yarn over and pull through. Now we have 3 loops on the hook. We're gonna yarn over and pull through only the first 2 loops on the hook. So we have here 2 loops on the hook. We're gonna leave it like this, yarn over and insert into the same stitch again, yarn over, pull through. We have 4 loops on the hook, so we're gonna yarn over, pull through, again only 2 loops, and then we have 3 loops on the hook. We're gonna yarn over again, insert the hook again into the same stitch, yarn over, pull through. We have now 5 loops on the hook. We're gonna yarn over and pull through again, only 2 loops. We have now 4 loops on the hook, and that's when we're gonna yarn over and pull through all 4 loops on the hook. So now we're gonna finish our cluster stitch by making 1 chain, and that's 1 cluster stitch. So now we're gonna make 1 more, but we're gonna skip 1 stitch and we're gonna make it into the next one. So 1 more cluster, and 1 chain, skip 1 stitch and 1 more cluster. Chain 1, skip 1 stitch, 1 more cluster. So all we're gonna do is cluster stitches from now on and chain. And now here we almost reached 1 corner, as you can see, but we have here 2 more stitches left before we have this chain space here. So we're gonna, in this case now, I'm gonna make the cluster stitch into the last stitch before we reach the chain space. Sometimes we don't have 2 left but only 1, so we're gonna just skip that one, but in this case we have 2, so I'm gonna make 1 in here, chain 1, and now we're gonna make 2 clusters into this chain space, and we're gonna chain 2 in between. So this is 1 cluster, chain 2, and 1 more cluster into the same chain space. Then we're gonna chain 1 again, and here in this case I'm gonna skip this one and make the next cluster here into this stitch here. And we're gonna continue doing clusters with always skipping 1 stitch and making 1 chain in between until we reach this chain space here, where we're gonna do again the same thing as we did here. We're gonna do that here as well and here as well. So we're gonna continue doing this sequence until we reach the end of the row, and then I'm going to show you how to continue. So I now reached the end of the row. As you can see, I made the increases on each corner, and now I'm going to change the color. I'm not going to cut off the yarn, and here, as you can see, at last I did 1 cluster, and here I have 1 more stitch left, so I made a simple double crochet here at the end. So now we're gonna chain 3, turn our work, make a knot. As said, if you're using different colors, I would suggest you not to cut the yarn, otherwise you will have too many yarns to weave in later. So we're gonna turn our work, and now we are going to make again our clusters. So here in this case we are going to make the first cluster in here, so we're gonna count this as our first cluster. So we're gonna just make 2 more, so 1, 2, and then we're going to make a normal cluster here into the chain space. So every cluster that we're going to make, so here again always 3, we are going to make them into the chain space. Always one chain between each cluster. And now I have one more cluster left before I reach the first corner. So chain one, and now again the same thing here. We're gonna make 2 clusters and into the same chain space and 2 chains in between those 2 clusters. So we have now our first cluster. We're gonna chain 2 and then one more cluster into the same. And then chain 1 and continue what we did before. So the same sequence, always one cluster, chain 1, one cluster, and we're gonna do this again until we reach the next corner where we do our 2 clusters into the same chain space again with 2 chains in between. So we're gonna do that here, here, and here, and we're gonna continue doing this until we reach the end of the row. And then you can change your color or make one more row in this color. I will do one more row in this color and then change. We need to take our tape and we're going to measure here, like this corner, the length of this corner. So now we have a length of 3 centimeters. So always take those corners here to measure, and we have 3 centimeters here, and for the size of 0 to 3 months we need to have a length of 10.5 centimeters. So we're gonna continue doing this until this part here reaches 10.5 centimeter. So as you can see, now I have reached a yoke length of 11 centimeter. So it's between 10.5 and 11. So since 10 was I was afraid that it would be too short, so I just went for 11, since 10.5 isn't possible in this case. So now we're going to make the armholes. Take my new color, which is green in this case, and I'm going, as always, to chain 3 first, turn, and then continue with our sequence. As always, just one cluster in each space and one chain in between. And now let me show you real quick, because the only tricky part that could have been while doing the previous rows is how to do the ending and the start. And as you can see here, sometimes I ended with one double crochet and sometimes I just ended with a cluster, as you can see here. And you just need to see which part applies to you. So here, this one here, I ended with one double crochet, and then now I'm doing the cluster in here so that we always have the same amount of clusters in every second row. And so now what we are going to do basically is we are going to make these armholes. So in order to create these armholes, we are going to first make the body part, and we have to connect these parts here so that we have the armholes here. So we're gonna crochet normally as we did before until we reach this part here, this place, where we started making the first corner. So we're gonna continue until that part, and then I'm gonna show you how to continue. I've reached now the first corner here, and this is the place where we usually did 2 clusters with 2 chains in between. So this time we're just going to make 1 cluster in here. We're gonna chain 1, and then we're gonna skip all these stitches, and we are going to make a cluster into this next corner. So we're basically leaving out the arm part, and we're gonna directly make 1 cluster here into the next corner. Chain 1, and then simply continue with the body part, and in this case here now this is the back part. So as you can see, we did one side of the front part. Here we leaved out where the sleeves gonna be, and now we're going to crochet the back part. We're gonna do the same connection as we did here on the opposite side on the other sleeves, and then we're gonna finish with the front part. And we're going to continue then crocheting in rounds. I'm gonna show you once I've finished this part. I'm gonna show you again how to continue. I've reached the end of the row. I connected the arm here and also here, so we have 2 armpits now, and now we are very simply going to just crochet each row without any changes. We're just going to, first I'm gonna change my color. As you can see, I'm never cutting, and also this side here will be then hidden by making the border, so don't worry about those parts. So here I changed my color as usual, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, turn, and now we are simply going to do 1 cluster, chain, cluster again, and so on. We're going to repeat this sequence until we reach the end of the row, and then we're gonna start all over again, and we're gonna make this body part until we reach a certain length. So for the size of 0 to 3 months, I'm going to make a length of approximately 9 to 10 centimeters. So as soon as we reached here, starting from the armpit, we reached 9 to 10 centimeters. We're going to stop, so that's gonna be the end of the body part, and then I'm going to show you how to make the arm parts, like the sleeves and then the border, and then there's not much left. So as you can see, I already continued with the arm, but basically I'm gonna show you later exactly the same thing what you have to do with the other one. But before, I wanted to show you how I continued with the body part. As you can see here, I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 rows for the body part. And let me one more last time show you how I always made the last stitch in each row and the first one, so that it's clear because it's the same thing for each row. So basically we do the last cluster here, where we can see in the row right before there are 2 clusters. So we're gonna do it between these 2 clusters, and here the last stitch that we're gonna do is a double crochet, and we're going to enter it here at the first 3 double crochet that we did at the beginning of, like the first 3 chains that we did at the beginning of the row, of the previous row, and we're gonna do a double crochet. And the next row, like the beginning of the row, is always chain 3, turn, and 1 cluster right here. As you can see in the previous row, we had that cluster here as well. So it's every row is like this. So I already cut off the yarn because I finished the row, but just one more reminder on how to start and finish a row. And here now we are finished, so we're gonna chain 1. I always chain 1 more, and then I finished with this row, and we are closing the row. And now I'm going to show you how to do the arm part. The arm part is pretty easy. So as you can see, I just flipped around so that I am having all the leftover yarn inside. When you're just getting started with one arm, like one sleeve, you can choose which side you're gonna choose as the inside, because it doesn't really matter because we are always crocheting front and back. Here I chose, because here the yarn was a little bit ugly, so that's why I chose to be this, the inside part. And now we are going to attach the yarn for the sleeve. As you can see here, we started with the green color. I usually attach the yarn here where the armpit is, so in case it doesn't look good, it's not that visible. I'm gonna just attach it here. You can see here we have already, here it's the first row of the body part, which is green, so we're gonna use that the same color. And as you can see here, I'm using the same colors always that we use for the body part. So we're gonna attach the yarn here. When you're doing different colors or the same colors as I did, it's very easy to see where to attach. So I'm attaching here where the green color and the beige color. This is the second row of the body part. This is the first row. So where the cluster from the first row of the body part and the cluster from the second row of the body part meet, that's where I'm going to attach the yarn. And I'm going to chain 3, and then I'm going to make a cluster into the same stitch, into the same chain space. So I did 1 cluster, I chain 1, and now I'm heading over here where the actual row is, the actual previous row is. So one more time, we're always making clusters again, so it's pretty easy. And now we're going to continue with doing cluster along the row. So cluster, chain 1, cluster into the next chain space, chain 1, cluster in the next chain space. So we're going to do this until we reach the beginning of the row again, like here at the first cluster that we did, and then I'm going to show you how to continue. So I almost finished with the first row of the sleeve part, and as you can see here, let's check the other sleeve. You can see that we have here, this part here, we have the first, this is the second row here, the beige one, so we have one cluster on this side here and one cluster here as well, so we have to do one more cluster here in here. And then we're gonna chain one, and then we're gonna insert the hook into this first stitch here, and we're going to make a slip stitch, and then we need to change the color and continue with the second round. And I'm not going to cut off the yarn, so I'm going to attach the beige color. Make sure that now all the leftover yarns and all the changes are made into the side, so inside the sleeve. Also here we're gonna have the change of the color. I'm not cutting it off, as you can see here, so but I make sure it's inside so you cannot see it from the outside. So we're gonna add our color here. We're gonna chain 3, one, 2, 3, turn our work, and now we're gonna make one cluster in the same chain space here. Chain 1, and then one cluster into each chain space, and always chain 1 in between. And we're going to continue this sequence for each row of the sleeve until we reach our desired length, and then I'm going to show you how to make the ribbing part. So we are now done with the arm. I did the same length as here, and now we're going to do the ribbing, and for that we are going to crochet on the outside, not on the inside, but before we are going to attach the yarn on the inside. So I'm going to here, right, I wanted to show you how I finished off, but basically very straightforward, I think. Just insert the hook into the first stitch from the row and make a slip stitch, yarn over, pull through. I usually yarn over one more time and then pull through the whole yarn, that we have a nice and secure knot. And now I'm going to attach the black yarn. I cut off all the other yarns, and now I'm gonna just add the black yarn and make a simple knot. And now we are going to turn and also take our yarn with us, so like flip it over. So we are crocheting now on the outside, and that's very important because if you crochet on the inside, this seam looks different on the inside, as you can see here. So crochet on the outside. We are going, if you're making for the size for 0 to 3 months, we are going to make 7 chains. I did the ribbing part for the bigger sizes, always a little bit bigger, so you can see how long you would like it to be, like how long you want this part to be. So I chained here 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I added one more chain before making a single crochet into this first chain from the hook. So it's 1, and then we're going to continue with 6 more single crochet, 2, 3, 4, and the last one is a very tricky one, 7. That's why I always make sure to count always 7 single crochets so that I'm sure that the length is always the same. So now we reached the starting point again, and now we're going to make 3 slip stitches along this side here. So we have here one, we have always 1 stitch on the cluster stitch and 1 inside the chain space. So 1 slip stitch, 1 into the chain space, and 1 more here into the cluster stitch. Now we're going to turn our work, and we are going to make again single crochet, but this time into the back loop only, 7 until we reach the end. So 1, 2, you can see this is the back loop here, 3, like if we would do a normal single crochet it's like this, but here this is the back loop only, 4, 5, 6, and the 7th you can almost not see it, but it's there. So, and 7. We did 7 single crochet into the back loop only. Now we're going to chain 1, turn, and we're going to do again 7 single crochet into the back loop only. So 1, 2, 7. Now the same thing as we did before. Here in this case we're gonna start with the slip stitch into the chain space. So 1, 2, and 3 slip stitches, and we're gonna turn our work, and we're gonna continue this sequence until, like again, 7 single crochet into the back loop only. We did 2, 5 more, and then chain 1, turn our work, and continue with this sequence until you reach the end of the row. And then here I'm going to show you how to combine the beginning and the end part. I almost reached the end of the row, and here I'm left with 3 more simple slip stitches. So we're going to make a slip stitch here into the chain space, then 1 slip stitch into the stitch, and then 1 more slip stitch here into the chain space, into the same one that we did the first row at the beginning of the row. And now we are going to turn our work and just do 7 single crochets into the back loop only, as we did in these all previous rounds. So we have 2, 3, 4, 7. We're gonna chain 1, and now we're gonna make a big loop. We're gonna flip over, we're gonna take a little bit of yarn, we're gonna insert again the hook into the loop, and now here we are going to combine the front, like the beginning and the end, by making slip stitches. So we are going to insert the hook here into the beginning of the row. Make sure that we have a big loop here. So the beginning of the row here and into the loop again. We're gonna pull through the loop, pull through the stitch, and now we are going to make slip stitches into each stitch until we reach the starting point. Or sorry, not slip stitches, single crochet. I think I said slip stitch, right? So single crochets until we reach the starting point here. Here, make sure that everything is compact. Maybe make one more than you actually need. And here we are going to fix our yarn so that we can make a nice knot. So I'm gonna fix it here into these 3 chains from this previous row. So I'm pulling through a slip stitch, pull through and pull through one more time and cut off the yarn. And we have a nice knot. And now when we pull over again, we can see how the ribbing looks like. Same as we did here. And now we're actually almost finished. So before making the color, which is gonna be here, I'm gonna make the border since we already have the black yarn here. So you can attach the border. It's very simple. It's just a bunch, like 2 rows of single crochet. So I'm gonna attach it here at the beginning, here on this corner of our first row, very first row. And I'm going to make single crochets. You can see here, these are our first, I don't know if this is a double crochet or it's the 3 chains from the beginning of the row, but anyway, we're going to insert the hook here into this one and we're gonna pull through and make a single crochet. Now here I'm going to make, you can see here, this is a double crochet. I'm going to make 2 single crochet into this one. I'm going to take every yarn with me so that I don't have to weave them in. So we have here this yarn here. So 1 single crochet into this first one, 2 single crochet here into this double crochet. Here I can see I have a hole, so I'm gonna make a single crochet in here. Then here I have a double crochet or 3 chains, it depends. I think this is a double crochet. These are 3 chains from the beginning of the row, so I'm gonna make 2, don't yarn over, we're gonna make single crochets, so 2 single crochets into this one here. And as you can see, I'm always taking the yarn with me. So basically I'm always making 2 single crochet into these spaces here. And if I can see that there's 1 additional hole, I'm gonna make it into the hole as well. So you can see here we have a hole again. So should I make it or not? No, I'm not gonna make it. I think it will look better if I just go and make 2 single crochet into each of these double crochet or 3 chains that we have, and always take the yarn with me. And it looks pretty clean, so I'm gonna continue with this sequence here. So always 2 double crochet and then continue to the next one. And I'm going to do this until I reach this part here, and here I'm going to show you how to make this an even corner. So as you can see, I reached this corner here, and you can see it looks pretty even. And here I insert, like I took every leftover yarn with me, so it looks also pretty clean. There's no need to weave in anything. And now we have this corner here, and in this corner I already made 2 single crochet, but we are going to make more so that it doesn't curl up. So we have 2 single crochet here. I'm gonna make, I think, let me see, 1. We're going to do double crochet, so 1, 2, 3, so a total of 5 single crochet here into this last chain space. Here we have the corner, and now here we are simply going to make 1 single crochet into the stitch and 1 single crochet into the chain space, 1 into the stitch and 1 into the chain space. And for the leftover yarns, you want to pull them always a little bit so that they don't show and they're fully hidden inside this row here. So I'm gonna continue this until you reach the opposite side, so all along here until you reach this corner here. And here we are going to do again 5 single crochets into this chain space here, or this is a double crochet here, so into this double crochet like this here, and then we're gonna continue with 2 single crochet into each space that we have here until we reach the opposite side. And then I'm going to show you how to continue. So we reached the end of the row, like the opposite side. We're gonna add just 1 more row of single crochet. So we're going just to chain 1, turn our work, and make 1 single crochet into each stitch, like this. And as soon as we reach the opposite side, we are going to cut off the yarn, because we're finished with this border here, and then we are going to start making the collar part. So continue all along until you reach this part here, and then I'm going to show you how to make the collar. So I now reached the opposite side, and as you can see, now it looks like this. You can just cut off the leftover yarn that you crocheted inside the other one. You should weave in. You're just going to attach the yarn here, exactly here where we had the foundation chain. Make a knot, and then we are going to simply make exactly the same thing as we did here. We are going not to do any increases or decreases, so just chain 3, make a cluster. So I'm going to make the cluster into the chain space. There's no chain space actually, it's just a cluster between 2 double crochets. Chain 1. In this case here, I'm going to always skip 2 double crochets and make always 1 double crochet into the chain space. Like no chain space, just the space between 2 double crochets. Then chain 1, skip 2 double crochet and make 1 into the space. And here we reach the corner where we did 2 clusters into 1 chain space, but we're gonna do only 1. So 1 here, and as you can see here, we did 1 directly after. So we're gonna skip, in this case, we're gonna skip only 1 double crochet, make the cluster, chain 1, and then again start skipping 2, so that we have always 1 cluster here, like the first row that we did, except from the part where we did the increase. There we're gonna do only 1, but except from that, we're always going to do 1 cluster, the same as we did in the first row. We're going to continue doing this actually until we reach the desired length of our color. After you finish this row, you're going to just turn your work, change the color, and continue just with making 1 cluster stitch into the chain space, chain 1, cluster stitch into the next chain space. You can see I am now done with the color. So I did 1 row of orange, then 2 of yellow, 1 of green, 1 of beige, and I finished again with orange, so that I have 4 borders at the end with orange. Like, that was the mood that I was planning to go for. And if you fold it, then you have here the color. As you can see also, I already added the border. What we're going to do is to cut off the leftover yarn that we already like kind of weaved in while crocheting. We're going to add the buttons, and for this size here I am going to add 4 buttons. So 1, 2, 3 and 4, the one that I will show you how to do, and then we're going to make these things here to close off the buttons. So we're gonna need 4 of these and 4 of these buttons, and I'm gonna show you how to make those sticks before adding them. Let's do the button first. So we're gonna make a magic circle. Take your 2 fingers, cross, and have a parallel here under the both yarns, and yarn over only the second one and under the first. Then you're going to remove the fingers and you're going to chain 1. Now we're going to make 6 single crochet into the circle. So 1, 2, 6. We are going to close the circle by pulling here. You can see that it closes. And now we're going to increase every second stitch so that we will have a total of 9 single crochets. So we're gonna insert our hook into the first stitch and make a single crochet increase. That means 2 single crochet into the same stitch. Then in the second we're gonna make only 1 stitch. Then we're gonna make again another increase. So 2 single crochet into the same. Then in the next one only 1 single crochet. Then again an increase, and then 1 more simple single crochet. So we have now a total of 9 single crochet into the second row. So we're gonna do 2 more rows of simple single crochet. So 1 single crochet into each stitch. That means we're gonna have 9 single crochet. So 1, 2, 9, and then 1 more round. So again 9 single crochet. Be careful because it's very tricky to find the stitches. So 1, 2, and 9. We're gonna make only single crochet decreases now, so we're gonna make like this. We're gonna insert our hook, yarn over, and pull through the stitch, and then instead of closing off the single crochet, we're gonna insert our hook into the next one and then pull through both stitches. This is a decrease, so we're gonna do again, and I actually do as many decreases that I feel like I can do until I have almost no more stitches left. And make sure to insert this thing here inside. And now we're gonna continue making decreases until there are almost no more stitches left. So I did my last decrease, and now I'm gonna just make one. I'm just gonna insert my hook to both opposite sides, take the yarn, make 2 chains, and then cut off. And make sure to have a pretty long yarn so that when we're going to attach it with the needle, like when we're gonna apply it on the cardigan, we have a long enough yarn. And now let's make these laces in order to close the cardigan. So we're going to make a chain. Make sure that this yarn here is long enough, so like this, it's a little bit longer. So we're gonna make 11 chains, 1, 2, 3, 11, and now we're gonna make a slip stitch into each chain. So 1, 2, 3, yarn over, pull through, cut off again, and leave a pretty long. And then we are going just to make a knot. So, and now let me show you how to attach them. I'm gonna attach the first one and simply attach, like insert the needle here. So we have it like this, and then I'm going to just make a simple knot. 1, 2. Then we're gonna take again the needle, and we're going to insert it here at the end and make again with this other end here a knot. 1, 2, and after that we're going to weave in these things here. So we attached now this part here, so now we have to check where did you attach it. Here where we have the green row, so we're going to attach the button at the same one on the opposite side. I'm gonna insert here, sorry, it's the opposite side, this side here. So insert, and now just make sure to just attach it as good as possible so that it's not gonna fall off. So feel free to go on and do as many rounds of sewing as you think you need. Once you are done, you're gonna make a knot. Like this. We're gonna weave in the leftover yarn. And here we have our first button. So you can see, you can take this place, this thing here, and close it like this. And now I'm gonna apply the other buttons. I'm gonna weave in all the leftover yarns, and then I'm gonna show you the finished part.